Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is comparator. So as the name indicate comparator, it means it will compare something. It will compare something. So let's start. First the question arises that why comparator is required. So first is, in case of mass production, the ideal components are produced on a large scale. We know that there are a number of identical components are manufactured in a company in mass production, and that identical product has to be checked. Second point is related to this first point. It is very difficult, expensive, and may not be feasible to measure the dimension of all components with use of vernier caliper, micrometer, etc. Because the measurement with the help of vernier caliper, micrometer is a time-taking process, which in turn can increase the production cost. So we have to reduce the production cost so that our component will get into the market within that time and at the lower cost with maximum efficiency. Third point, to check dimensional variation from the standard or the basic dimension of the part. So comparator is used to check the variation of the dimension from the standard one. Fourth one is comparing manufactured part to the standard part. If we have a standard part and we have a manufactured part, then we can compare it with the standard one with the help of comparator. And last part is, the comparator requires little skill for the operator, eliminating human element for taking measurement and give quick and high consistent results. So comparator is a device which need more skill, or we can say that it requires a skilled operator. So what is the basic principle of comparator? So the basic principle of comparator is shown in these two diagrams. First, what we have to do, we have to put the standard, and over that standard, we have to fix our comparator, and in such a way that by putting the plunger on the standard, it will show you the zero reading. It means when the plunger is touching the standard, it will show you zero reading on the scale of the comparator. Next, the workpiece to be checked is, now what we have to do, we have to replace this standard, and the workpiece which is manufactured in the company with respect to this standard is kept inside this plunger like this. If the height of the standard is h1 and the height of the workpiece, now there are three conditions. It is possible that the height of the workpiece is equals to the height of the standard, height of the workpiece is less than the height of the standard, or the height of the workpiece is lesser than the height of the standard. So first, when height of the standard and the height of the workpiece is equal, then this will not deviate from its position. It will show you zero. It means our workpiece is manufactured according to the standard size. There is no variation. So from it is clear that comparator does not tell you the actual dimension. It will tell you only the variation of the workpiece or the dimension from the standard dimension. And variation can be zero, it can be on positive side, or it can be of negative side with respect to the standard. Now, if h1 height is greater than h2, it means h2 is smaller than h1. The height of the workpiece is smaller than the height of the standard. Then what will happen? This plunger move downward, and the plunger, the pointer will move in a negative direction. It means lesser than zero. It means your workpiece is smaller in size as compared to the standard. And if h2 is greater than this h1, then what will happen? The comparator will show you positive reading, it means there is some extra material more than the standard in the workpiece. So this is how the basic operation of the comparator takes place. Next, a comparator parts. What are the different parts which is present in the comparator? So there are mainly three parts. First is a sensing device. Sensing device is the device which senses the input signal first. Second, a magnifying or amplifying system. It means because variation is very small, so it will should magnify the value of the input signal. It means to increase the signal to suitable magnitude. There are a number of methods which is used to magnify the system, that is mechanical system, optical system, pneumatic system, hydraulic system, electronics methods which are used to increase the amplification of the comparator. And third system that we use in comparator is the display system. It means the system which will show you the result, which will give you the value that how much the variation takes place from the standard one. So these are the three major components of a comparator. First is sensing device, next is magnifying device, and third one is the display system. Next, what are the parameters which are taken into consideration while designing the comparator? So first is ability to record variation of at least 0.0025 mm. It means we can say that this is the least count of comparator. It means a comparator is made in such a way that it will record the variation minimum up to 0.0025 mm. Second, linear recording scale. It means it will record the linear dimensions. It will record the linear dimension, or we can say that the dimension should be in mm or centimeter. Third is variance free. Instrument recording should not vary when repeated measurement of given quantity are made. For example, first you will take this reading of workpiece with respect to standard and some variations found in that. Again, that workpiece is checked with the same comparator again and again. So variation does not occur in the result. If comparator is showing you 0.0025 at one time, so it will show you every time 0.0025 mm variation for the same workpiece with the respect to same standard. Fourth is scale indicator. Scale indicators clear and free from oscillation. There is no vibration. There is no effect of vibration on the comparator. It should be like this. Fifth is free from backlash error. Unnecessary friction and clearance inertia should be low. It means the comparator is of that property that it should have less inertia. The mass of the part from which the comparator is to be made is of very light weight. Sixth is measuring pressure should be low and constant. The pressure which is applying on the plunger with respect to the standard, it should be low. It means like in this figure, this plunger, the pressure in between this plunger and this standard or this plunger or in this workpiece is very low and constant. It should not be very variable. Next, seventh point is supporting frame to be rigid. It means the comparator on which the this comparator is to be fixed is a rigid body. It should be a rigid frame. And the last is capable of measuring wide range. It means it will give you the required amount of the result. It will having the large range. It will work over the large range. So these are the design considerations which are taken into account while designing the comparator. Next is essential characteristics of comparator. So first is it should be compact. It means it should be small in size. It should be easy to handle. It should give quick response or quick result. It means if you are measuring something with the help of comparator, you are comparing some workpiece with respect to the standard, it will give you quick result. It means its sensitivity should be high. Fourth is it should be reliable while in use. Fifth, there should be no effect of environment on the comparator. So comparator is like that out, outer environment does not affect the working of the comparator. Sixth is its weight must be less. Seventh, it should be cheaper. It must be easily available in the market. It should be sensitive as per the requirement. The design should be robust. It should be linear in scale so that it is easy to read and get uniform response. So scale is like this. You have to read that scale. It means the readability of the comparator scale should be good. It should have less maintenance. It should have hard contact point with long life. It means the point which is in touch with the standard or workpiece is of hard nature. This plunger part, this point, which is the contact point of the comparator, it should be hard. Next, it should be free from backlash and wear. So these are the essential characteristics of a comparator which should be required by it. Next is working principle of a mechanical comparator. A mechanical comparator employs mechanical meaning of magnifying the smallest movement of the stylus. Second, the magnification of the small stylus movement is obtained by means of lever, gear train, rack and pinion, or a combination. It means the magnification method or the amplification method which is to be used is adopted by the help of mechanical components like lever, gear, rack and pinion, or the combination of all these things. The magnification which is obtained by these comparator ranges from 250 to 1000x. So this much amount of magnification can be obtained with the help of mechanical comparator. So first mechanical comparator is the Johnson microcator. So this is the diagram of Johnson microcator. Johnson microcator is the comparator that is developed by C.F. Johnson, and it works on the basic principle that button spring spinning on a loop of string, like in the case of children toy. In our childhood, we have played that we will do the spinning of the thread and we immediately stretch it. So we will use that. So this principle is used to make this microcator. So the various parts of the microcator are slit washer, plunger, contact point, plunger displacement, thick glass pointer, bell crank lever, twisted metal strip, perforating series of holes, cantilever strip. So working principle is like this. This comparator works on the principle that when a tension is applied to the twisted strip, this is a twisted strip, this causes the strip to untwist, resulting in rotation of pointer, because the pointer is attached to the twisting strip, which is attached at center of the twisted strip. This one. This is the twisted strip, and to which the thin glass pointer is attached, and it will give you the reading. It means scale is at present here. The two halves of the strip from center are twisted in opposite direction. It means this is the strip. Half portion is twisted in this direction, a half portion is twisted in this direction, so that any tension or pull on the strip will cause the center to rotate. So by doing this, by twisting it in this direction, by twisting in this direction, so by pull or tension, this pointer will rotate. Now on end of the strip is fixed to the adjustable cantilever. It means this strip is fixed to one end with the help of cantilever strip, and the other end is attached to the bell crank lever, like this. Like this. This is a bell crank lever. One end of the strip is fixed to the cantilever strip, and other end of this twisted strip is fixed to the bell crank lever, which is pivoted at the frame of comparator, and this is pivoted here. And their other end contact with top of the plunger, and this bell crank lever is attached to this plunger, which will do the reciprocating motion if there is some variation in the workpiece. Next, plunger moves upward due to contact with workpiece. If there is some workpiece here and we will move this plunger on the workpiece, and if there is some variation with respect to the standard, then it will move upward and the bell crank lever is moved in such a way that that is shown in by the dotted direction. Now due to this motion, what will happen? The bell crank lever pulls the twisted strip. When this bell crank lever moves in upward direction, this twisted strip get stretched, and hence the pointer which is attached at the center strip start rotating. When this strip get pulled with the bell crank lever, this pointer start rotating. The rotation of the pointer is proportional to the change in length of the strip and plunger movement. The rotation of the pointer is proportional to which? It is proportional to the length of the strip. So how the magnification is achieved with the help of Johnson micrometer? It means the magnification of this instrument is equal to the ratio of rate of change of pointer rotation, that is d theta, to rate change in length of strip dl. The magnification of this instrument is given by d theta by dl is directly proportional to L by W squared into N, where theta is the angle of twist at center with respect to the end. L is length of twisted strip. W is equals to width of twisted strip. N is equals to number of turns. Now from this equation we can say that first, if length of the strip increases, the magnification of the instrument is increased, because this d theta is directly proportional to this L. So magnification will increase. The length of the strip can be increased by adjusting cantilever length. So we can adjust the length of the strip according to adjusting the cantilever beam length. If width of strip decreases using thin strip, if we use thin strip, then the magnification is increased. If this is thin, then magnification also get increased, because it is inversely proportional. The magnification can be increased by increasing number of turns on the strip. Here, magnification can be increased by increasing number of turns on the strip. If we increase the number of turns of the strip, then the magnification also will increase. So this is how the working of Johnson micrometer takes place. So today's lecture is over. Thank you so much and have a nice day.